race tonight. Now, just to plug you, oh, we're already going live. That's cool. And dude has a red rupee in the first chest in Link's house.
Looks like they're both starting with the Link's house play. So, not a lot of divergence yet, but see what happens up here in Hyrule Castle.
Yeah, this is a pretty much standard play so far. Ooh, and red rupees from a tree pull. This is going to be useful early on for farming a bit of rupees.
Yeah, possibly no need for a Houlihan today.
Yep, it's not very needed usually too, so it's fine. But sometimes you need them rupees. So far, it looks like both our players here got some sprites, custom sprites, and we got the pug on BK's side, and dude has I don't remember that sprite exactly. I believe it's from Secret of Mana.
It might be, but that's a game I'm not familiar with.
Yeah, shame on me, shame on me. It's the sprite. Yeah, that's right. Now, so far we haven't found anything very useful. A few bombs in the sewers, and we got only a piece of heart here inside of Sanctuary.
Well, 3 bombs itself is still really useful. It means you won't have to double dip into the well or into Blind's hut when you go to Kakariko Village.
Yeah, that's true. A bit less of puzzling around trying to find your first bombs. But, since they already have a good source of rupees, they could have just bought them directly in Kakariko. But, like you said, it's nice.
Piece of heart from the lumberjack, so Aga not required for that, but we've seen some strange things in some of these races.
Oh yeah, you never know when you're locked from going into the dark world just because you can't find either the moon pearl or the hammer or any really useful items for crossing.
That is an early mirror.
Speaking of crossing. So like we said, right now mirror not very useful other than make blocks disappear here and there. We got a full heart inside of Thieves Caves here. Nothing very useful.
Now, we've been seeing a lot of tree pulls from Dude, so he is very rich already. Bite size, not farming the tree pulls as much. He has enough to get by right now, but Dude is a lot better off for Zora if he decides to make that play early.
Yeah, but I think I like BK's way of doing things. He might actually find a 300 all over Kakariko, so that farming might not have been much useful, but we'll see.
There's what, four of those 300 drops, I believe?
3 or 4, around that.
They're getting loaded up on bombs right now.
Did BK not get the chest in the back?
I'm pretty sure I saw him bomb it, but yeah, I don't think he couldn't have went back there.
Well, let's hope it doesn't bite him back, because that 300 might change how he routes things.
I've commented a few seeds where we've had a runner forget a location along the way, and it's come back to bite them. Luckily, in this case, it's just a 300, so Nothing required like the bow, but it still might come back to bite him later.
At least we know it's only rupees, so it's not that bad, especially since there's 420s just dropping from the big trees. Now they both got a bottle too, which is pretty good early on. They'll be able to check Sick Kit right away instead of coming back later to check it.
Oh, did Bitesize just realize what happened? Did he just realize he missed the back chest?
I think so. Possibly just early game jitters here for getting a location this early like that. Nothing much.
While we're routing these early locations, it's good to remind everyone this is a best of 3. So this one race is not an elimination race. As I said, it is best of 3.
Indeed. So these players can have a bad race and not feel too bad about it, because sometimes it does happen. Randomizer tends to be mean with people sometimes. So these guys would at least have 2 races. Not in a row though. So we only get 1 race tonight for these 2 players.
Oh, and dude, not even checking the race game. He's just going for it. And not liking his outcome.
It's a shame, but it does happen. I like that little gamble anyways, because you do lose a bit more time if you don't. If you go look downwards and you have to go back up.
Yeah, at this stage of the race, there's not a lot that you're just going to leave behind. Even if it's just a piece of heart, I'd probably take it just to try to have more than 5 hearts.
Indeed, you never know when you can get an early Dark World access, and going there with few hearts is pretty much a recipe for death.
Now, Bitesize is already making a Sahasrahla Eastern play. Dude's taking advantage of that mirror, erasing those blocks in the dam.
Yeah, already have some variation.
Oh, Bitesize getting his Sahasrahla hint, getting Thieves Town as the green pendant. And a sword. And a sword.
Yep, sword is always good to have a bit early on, especially in this open mode where you don't start with it. So he has a weapon to go through Moldorn Cave. Well, you see here, Dude has to use bombs to kill these Moldorms.
Oh, we're getting a map check. Eastern's pendant and Hera and Desert are crystals. That's a Moon Pearl. We have, you see, 2 more items for Dark World access.
That's almost a Dark World access. Almost. But it still needs something else. That's either the hammer or finding the hammer and the power gloves, or finding a master sword to go through Aga Tower.
And having that early mirror, they can transition between both really easily. And we've got a book in Eastern.
Dungeon items sending you into another dungeon. Yeah, this looks like this kind of trolley seed.
Yeah, it's version 27. It's, you know, we may be off of V26, but it still seems to be a dungeon-heavy logic.
Oh, indeed. I don't think the logic changed that much, so we'll still see pretty much the same kind of plays as we've seen in the version 26, where people go in dungeons all the time. Even pendant. Now, dude is going up to see the guy under the bridge while using the fake flippers glitch. It's a minor glitch that you can use to fake your way into water, and the game gets a bit confused and makes you swim instead of trying to respawn you up the ledge. Now, one important thing is he cannot get hit at all, or he will die.
While he's exploring under the bridge, Bitesize going into the dark room at Eastern. Now he did find Bombos, so that may or may not be important later.
Indeed. Out of all the medallions, Bombos is definitely one of the most useful ones, just to use all over the place.
Oh, personally, I love it for Ice Palace. Prefer it over Fire Rod for breaking out Cold Stare. Well, I don't know. And Bitesize getting his big key, so he's got one more location to check, and dude is walking on water right now.
Oh wow. That paid off, finding the power gloves in that waterfall cave. So that means that the flippers shouldn't be that far away.
Yeah, Flipper shouldn't be that far away because there's a hammer on the Zora ledge.
This is a nice sequence break we're seeing here because having the power gloves early like that may give him an early advantage.
Wouldn't it be funny if this was vanilla Flipper? Nope, it's not.
I'm kind of expecting Flippers to maybe where BK is going inside of Hyrule Castle, or possibly later on in Escape.
Well, we mentioned that Power Glove was a sequence break. It could be possible, though, that that's your second intended glove upgrade.
That is true.
And with that book that Bitesize got in Eastern, maybe the other gloves over in Desert, or the Flippers in Desert.
Dude getting himself some nice silver arrows, which is a pretty good item to have. Of course, it's pretty much useless until you find a bow, but once they do find a bow, it's going to go bye-bye for every boss in this game, as silvers tend to destroy anything it touches.
Oh, tier 2 tree pull being a whole bunch of bombs.
Yeah, I think he pretty much has all the bombs he needs until the end of the seed. Meanwhile, BK is using some pot tactics here to get rid of the ball and chain guy. Now, I'm not exactly sure how Dude is planning. Okay, he's going to use some bombs to get rid of the guards since he doesn't have any weapons.
Well, you think he's got enough bombs for the end of the seed. I think he's going to try to test that. Now, Bitesize going into the dark part of the sewers. We know there's an item back there because he's got the map and there was a small key in the chest in the back.
Now, this is not an easy room to go through, all in all, to just in the dark.
Sword score make it a little easier to tell where he is, but finding that one chest out in the middle of nowhere. Oh, he found it and it was powder.
An interesting item early on, as we've seen, the hammer is up on the Zora ledge, and he has the powder, so maybe the bat could have something rather useful in terms of progression. Let's just hope these guys don't forget about it, because it's one of those places that has so much requirement that you might forget about them.
So, between both runners, I believe the only locations we have left that's accessible are Agina's Cave and Desert.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I'm betting that Agina has something, because he usually is a big troll and has holding on to something like flippers.
They could, Dude could sequence break further and go up the mountain to, could go up to Death Mountain, but that's only going to yield another 2. No, wait, he has Magic Mirror, so he could get into Tower of Hera.
That's true, that's another play he might want to take. But at this point, you do have to tell yourself that each time you're sequence breaking, you have to remember what you're sequence breaking, or you can lose what the logic is trying to tell you. And that can put you in a lot of trouble. It all depends on their strategy. I usually go for trying to read what the seed is telling me. Like Bitesize right now is going to Desert knowing that he has the book, so it's probably where the next item, the next progression item is.
It would be nice if he had the power gloves, so that way he could make his way back to the Lambolas. However, he doesn't have a fire source for there right now anyways.
Right. Now, Dude is making his way into Eastern himself, so he's going to be able to find his boat just about now.
Oh, there's a shovel on that ledge.
Oh boy, another of those fetch quest items where you need to go check another locations once you do have this item. A bit annoying, but sometimes you might take the risk of not checking what the item there is. Of course, early on it's not advisable, but it's one of those items you probably want to skip when you're further in the race. It's one of those gambles you might make. There we go.
There's those flippers.
Now, he will be able to go and take his shovel and possibly take that, check that, or maybe check later on and probably get his hammer first.
Bitesize also found out another valuable piece of information by going to Desert here. That key on the ledge, that key on the torch, and not having the big key, that means the boots are going to be required just to progress.
Indeed. And that's a very good thing, because nobody likes slow seeds that don't have the boots for like an hour and a half. Or not having the boots at all.
Depending on where the seed takes them, it still might be an hour and a half until they get boots. So with those flippers, he can go get. They can go get the hammer. Bite Size can get his mitts as well, and that's Dark World access. The world pretty much opens up. At least the Dark World pretty much opens up at that point.
Indeed. This series pretty much started with nothing much in the early places, but now that they do have, well, they will have a lot of items such as the gloves and the moon pearl and the mirror. They pretty much have access to everything, especially with the hammer. One of those other items they'll probably pick up soon enough will be the hook shot, which will open up pretty much what's left of the Dark World, that and the Titan's Mitts.
Speaking of Dark World, though, good news, they have blue mail. Bad news, they're only on 7 hearts.
Yeah, blue mail tends to shine a lot more when you have more hearts. Now, that doesn't mean that they won't find a few more hearts along the way. They still have plenty of locations left to check. I do have to say, though, that so far, I think BK will be on top with these early plays that he made. Just because of his routing, having the flippers going up to Zora and all in one go will save him a bit of time.
Agreed, that extra trip for Dude is going to cost him a decent chunk of time.
But this race is far from over. There's still plenty of places where these runners can go in different routes and find different things, especially in the Dark World, or when they decide to go up Death Mountain.
Bite Size almost made the mistake of save and quitting after getting his item from Zora.
Yeah, that would have pretty much given up the advantage he has here. Like I said earlier, it can happen sometimes that you just make a split decision that costs you so much time just because either jitters or something else. You never know. Now, so far, I'm pretty sure his next place will probably going into the Dark World behind Kakariko Village and start exploring either Skull Woods or Thieves Town for a few more items. Or possibly Hype Cave.
Well, Hype Cave hasn't really paid off a lot recently. Not that I've seen. But it's a new seed.
Yep, you never know what you're gonna get. I mean, as far as item locations go, it's pretty good with 5 items. Now we see here a good map check with Blue Pendant and not Swamp, inside of Skull Woods. Green we already knew. 5 and 6 in Mire and Swamp, and everything else is a crystal.
Now that we know all the pendants, we know a few items that can't be on pedestal, and that list is actually pretty small.
Indeed. Now, this seed so far, I'm gonna go and say this isn't a pedestal seed. Not because I'm being negative or anything, but it looks so far like they have pretty much a good assortment of items, and so many places left to check around. Yeah, I'm gonna predict not a pedestal seed. So if anybody was expecting that, I'm sorry. I said so, so it's gonna happen.
Well, Bite Size getting bullied coming out of Hype Cave, which Hype Cave, the hype scale is like maybe a 2.
Yeah, that wasn't much of a hype cave, but you never know with that cave. Like I said, oh, that's an interesting
Is that a
word.
bow?
I believe so. Well then, he at least knows where the bow is, and that's not a lot of requirement that he needs to get there. Only need another sword.
Only need another sword. There's one thing though. There may be 3 swords, but there's a lot of locations. The one sword they have is good enough to get them almost everywhere.
Indeed. The only thing that Master Sword is locking is going into Aghanim's tower and defeating Ganon. So we know for sure they'll find at least another sword somewhere. And meanwhile, it looks like Dude just find his Red King inside of Skull Woods because hashtag Skull Woods is always stacked.
It's past V26. You still do Skull Woods.
Yeah, because for those that don't know, Skull Woods had a bit of statistics. We had a few months ago, I think, at this time, and it looks like I think it was around 30% of the time that Skull Woods held a progressive item inside of it, a progression item. I mean, so 30% and it only has 2 items. Yeah, that's a good gamble.
There's the Bloomerang. So that's both items out of Skull Woods.
Now that's good because once we know if either of these, if this is a pedestal seed or not, it pretty much eliminates Skull Woods as a dungeon because it is a pendant. And they both have the items that are in it. Or at least Dude has them, and BK is going to have it, the boomerang, in a few seconds now.
Now, Dude, after finding both items, running into Village of Outcasts, I wonder if BitesizedBK is going to go back and check the pedestal while he's at it.
Yeah, he could go that way, or he could try and look what's inside of the bumper cave. That's another location we can see depending on where he decides to go after this.
Dude, not comfortable with his health, just... Oh, he's filling up with another red.
I can understand. You don't want to be low health inside of Dark World.
Unfortunately, having to pay for convenience though, that steep 150 rupee price.
Indeed, that's a pretty deep price early on when you don't have a gazillion rupees. But still, he seems to still manage his money well. We're not judging him.
He's still got enough money to finish the game.
But he's making the play to go behind the graveyard to look that cave up there. It can be a very trolly location, especially if you forget about it.
Now, check on Bumper Cave. It was only a big 20. Speaking of big 20s,
there's plenty of those in the game. Not very useful. Even in the beginning, there's so much ways you can make money fast that big 20s,
Yeah, I believe the count is 28 of those compared to 24 pieces of heart for your top 2 items. It's a lot of them.
Now, Dude is making his way through Thieves Town, which we know is a green pendant. It's not a crystal, but green pendant is usually a bit more worth it in general, just because you can turn it for another item. And Thieves Town is also one of those dungeons you usually don't skip, just because it does have a few more items in it than most dungeons. And since it doesn't have much requirement other than having Dark World access, you might as well do it.
And he's got the hammer to check the chest downstairs, the big chest.
Indeed. So yeah, making the play for Thieves Town, a very good play in my book. Now, let's see. They haven't found much inside of Thieves Town so far.
I saw a piece of heart. Not sure if I've seen a lot else.
Yeah, at this point, it's pretty much confirmed that there's an item on blind, just because he has the green pendant. But Dude already found the key though, so there's at least an item either in the chest or the big chest. Either one of them.
Yeah, he's already found the key and all 3 dungeon items, so I think that means there's an item on both locations.
BK is close behind, finding exactly the same things as Dude found just a few minutes ago. And another piece of heart. There's 2 pieces of heart so far in this scene, in this dungeon. Now, I think their next location after this might diverge a bit, but for myself, I would probably explore a few more locations just south of Kakariko Village, such as the Digging Game and Stumpy and South Grove, a few more places like that. They can also try and go into Swamp. Of course, they don't have the hookshot, so they can't really complete it, but they can check a fair amount of locations in there.
Yeah, without hookshot, I think there's only 4 locations they can't check. And there's more than that they can't. Oh, and Dude clutching it out on half a heart.
He finds himself a very cool item here, pun intended, the Ice Rod.
Dang it, Dynasty.
I'm here all night, folks.
But that means that blind is definitely required because Turtle Rock is a crystal.
Indeed. Now that would be fun if the green pendant held the fire rod, because that would mean blind had both rods.
This also means dipping into all 3 pendants we already know is required, because Eastern had the book to get the desert, Skull Woods having the red cane, and Thieves Town having the ice rod.
Indeed. And not only that, but the book also is locking the bow on the Bombos tablet. So yeah, the book definitely required here. Now, digging game did not pay off, with only a big 20 buried on the ground. But soon enough, we'll see a few more locations here in the south part of Dark Hyrule.
Yeah, hopefully on this route, dude makes his way up to Bombo's tablet so he knows where the bow is. Hopefully.
Yeah, he might wait a bit later on though. It's with the routing people usually do. They tend to just check whatever's on the tablet when they go and turn in the purple chest. But it all depends on what items they find.
Some good routing with the shovel.
And only an extra heart, which is definitely not a bad item at this point.
I do find it kind of interesting, though, that we haven't seen a lamp yet.
Oh no. Looks like BK is taking a death here, unfortunately. But Thieves Town is not a very long dungeon to go back to the boss, so it's not a big loss.
Luckily, he's deciding to go back in. Considering it's a pendant, I wouldn't have been surprised to see him just back out.
Indeed, he did take the correct decision to go back in. Now let's hope that he beats blind this time, because if he doesn't, he might not have the ice rod for a really long while, which is not bad per se, because the ice rod is only really useful to beat Trinex.
Now, dude did get his tablet check in, so he knows where the bow is.
Yep, so he knows that as soon as he finds a Master Sword, he'll be going there, get his bow. Especially since they do have the silver, so that bow would be extra useful.
Bite size ending with one heart on blind. It's really close blind fights this time around.
Indeed, it looks like both runners had very low hearts getting out of blind. At least they got through. That's the important part.
Now I just realized, since both runners know that bow is on a tablet, Pod might be one of the last places they check.
That's true. It's since they will be most likely bow locked before finding anything that's of really of value in there. They do have access to a fair number of chests if the first chest has a small key in it. But it's still one of those dungeons where you tend to just don't go in it when you know you don't have all the requirements. And yeah, dude is having a really good time in the dark here, trying to go up Death Mountain.
And the old man, old man was lifting. There are the Titan's mitts.
That's the last time I criticized this old man. Now, they do have another strength upgrade, which means that they will be able to lift any of those dark rocks, the ones that look like they're more black colored. And there's a few places in the game that it does block, like access to Mire and access to Ice Palace.
Now, Mire's still flute locked, but Ice Palace, they have Bombo, so Ice Palace could be a play right now.
Indeed. But at this point, we do have to say that going there is still a sequence break, because they would have needed either the lamp or the flute to go up Death Mountain without sequence breaking.
Oh, best time in the game. Dude gets the bug catching net.
Darn it, you said it before I did. Now, of course, we are a bit joking saying that because the bug net serves only as a safety item and as a style points item to beat Ganon with. Very important.
And they do have 2 bottles right now, so they could get a couple fairies. That's good safeties right now.
Indeed, especially with the powder that BK has. Easy access to fairies in the Dark World with that. So with having a few bottles, the bug net and the powder, he's pretty much safe in those Dark World dungeons just because of the accessibility of fairies.
Oh. So, with Dude finding mostly dungeon items, I'm pretty sure there's an item stuck in the basement of Hera right now.
It looks like it's... yeah, it looks like it, since Moldorm will have the key and the last item will be locked in the basement. Unfortunate, but since they both have the hammer, they will be exploring Death Mountain a bit more after this.
Now, Dude did not check the ether tablet. Bitesize did. Unfortunately, it's just couch cash.
And there we see why this boss is so hated in the community. It's not a hard boss, it's an annoying boss. Just because he rarely kills you, he just pushes you down and you have to restart the fight. Yeah. It only takes 3 hits with the hammer, but 3 hits without getting bumped back into a hole, yeah, that's another thing. There
With a short range weapon too.
Yeah, that's true.
But Dude taking down the Troll Dorm and getting his small key. But without a lamp or a fire rod, they cannot check the basement yet.
Now, this is one of those items where items location that they do need to not forget about. It's very easy to just go, oh yeah, I'm done with Hera, but yeah. Hope it's not something useful.
I wouldn't be surprised if they leave it for a very long time. But as you said, hopefully they don't forget about it. It could very well be something important.
At least at this point, there's still so many items to check up in Death Mountain that most likely they'll be checking it a bit later on. Especially since so far it's a sequence break, all what they're doing right now.
Bitesize going up into his Troll Dorm fight, and Dude is taking the walk of shame.
Yeah, Spiral Cave without boots is so... it feels so long.
funny if Boots were here, but it's not.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. After going through the locations here in Death Mountain and also Dark Death Mountain, they will probably go
There's a
in.
lamp.
Wow, that's a great locations for it, I guess. It's still that means that flute is the way to go up Death Mountain. Interesting. So yeah, so from what I've seen in chat, flute is possibly inside of Palace of Darkness from this routing.
We also know Ether is required to get into Turtle Rock.
That's a great thing to know, since not looking at it can cost you a lot of time. As I say, inside of Randomizer, information has a lot of value. Can change your whole route and experience when you know what you need to enter dungeons.
Now, with Bite-Size entering Dark World from the top of Turtle Rock, I'm wondering if he was thinking about just going straight in if it was Bombos required.
Well, it's not. I'm not sure about that, since not having the fire rod means you only have access to one chest, which could be the fire rod, of course, but unlikely.
Well, even if it's just a small key, you can progress further into the dungeon, I think.
Oh, that is true. If it is a small key, you can progress a bit further in, but not that by much though. Especially if the big key is locked on the left side there, the right side, I mean.
Well, with Bite-Size going through Hookshot Cave, he's got a mushroom now.
Now, so far, this seed hasn't been very nice with those fetch quest items, but that could change with the mushroom or the powder. Still another location they haven't checked too, the magic bat.
I believe our runners have already found all of the fetch quest items. Unless you count Pedestal.
Yeah, that's true. They still haven't turned in their green pendant too, which in some sort is another fetch quest.
Now, this could be a huge play coming up because Bite-Size deciding to save and quit out. Dude is heading towards Spike Cave.
And Dude could also be checking what's inside of Tower of Hera if you wanted, because he does have a fire source now.
Oh, that's right. Now, Spike Cave right now, I believe, is a sequence break since he doesn't have Cane or Cape.
Having access to a bottle is not a sequence break, I believe.
Well, that was a vanilla cane. Now, he didn't check Hera, so it's still a mystery.
Now, it's still interesting to see that neither of these runners have checked what's at the pedestal so far. Now, we do know that most of the items couldn't really be there, and I also said that this wasn't a pedestal seed, so we know it's nothing important. So let's just forget about it until it's absolutely like the boots that's locked there.
Do I smell a jinx?
Not at all. Not at all. Not at all.
Bite Size making a good routing choice here. He's turning in his powder, unfortunately finding out it's not much, but on his way to Catfish.
Yeah, I do like both of these guys, the way they've routed this, because Bite Size will most likely go to Pod right after this, and also checking Pyramid while in the way. Meanwhile, Dude is checking more overworld locations here.
I'd forgotten, Dude does not have powder. And Catfish validating the run with the single arrow.
Indeed, because when has Catfish ever paid off? Let's be honest, it's one of those locations where it's so far out of the way that he rarely has anything good.
Until that one time he does, and you're cursing your luck.
Exactly.
Ooh, is Bite Size about to make the pod play?
Pretty sure that's the correct play at this point, because why not? He knows where the bow is, and so he knows he can't really find anything much to finish the dungeon, but he could find something that will help him find more items, such as finding the hook shot, maybe the fire rod, or even the flute.
As was stated earlier, we know there is a flute somewhere to get us up to Death Mountain.
So that green pendant had nothing but a piece of heart, which, fortunately enough for BK, gave him a full heart refill. Pretty good considering he's going into Pod. But since he does have the red mail, it did lose a bit of yeah, exactly.
So Dude right now is doing the we've had the Froggy World Tour, now it's the Purple Chest World Tour.
Now, you don't usually see the Purple Chest World Tour, just because the Purple Chest tends to be a bit more picky on the locations you can check with, contrary to just having the frog around.
Okay, that was a good mirror bonk. I never thought I'd say that was a good mirror bonk. Now, Bite Size did find a small key, so he can continue on in Pod.
Yeah, there's nothing worse than having pod bow lock, especially when you do know where the bow is. Now, Dude is about to be just a bit disappointed from that single arrow, and he's going to leave it behind like nothing happened. Meanwhile, Bitesize is using cane strats on those mini Helmosaurs. Great way to get them out of the way. And he finds the ether.
Oh, he can get the Turtle Rock. That's the play now. Well, really, without Fire Rod, it's not that great a play to go to Turtle Rock now, but it could have some value. We've seen early Turtle Rock pay off a few times.
Oh, definitely. It can still be a very trolly location. Like we said, any really location that's far off by its own can be one of those locations where you don't want it to have good items, but hey, it's Randomizer. Anything can happen.
I'm surprised Bite-Sized mirrored back. I thought I would have checked the dark room to the left since it had 2 chests plus... Does he have the big key right now?
I don't think he does. That's probably why he's still checking this chest right here. Ah, there we go.
Good news, there's the big key. Bad news, he doesn't have another key right now.
Yeah, so at this moment he's locked out of pod, which is fine because of the key placement. We know that it can't possibly be something very useful at the moment that's in the left turn, the back part of pod. And he also got another bottle with a fairy in it, so another safety for him. You know what? I like that that prediction. Having flute at Batcave? Yeah, sure. Let's go with that.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. I don't think Flute can be at Batcave. Because they got Powder in the Dark Escape, and Lamp was up on Death Mountain.
Ah, that is true. My bad.
That was just a validation rupee.
Yeah, we got totally owned by that prediction. Yeah, my bad. I'm changing it a bit late, but yeah, probably in Swamp now. Now, of course, without a hook shot, Swamp is a bit shorter than usually, and that will mean that they'll both check what's on the left side. So Swamp, they won't save any time there.
Now I could still see a vanilla hookshot in Swamp.
That we could. That we don't want to see, because that's very trolly, but it could happen.
Well, we know we need boots. We're an hour in, and we still don't have boots. Wasn't there something said about an hour and a half with no boots?
Yeah, and something about Pedestal definitely not having them. Yeah, I might have jinxed it, but not at this point. Not at this point. I'm still not at this point. Don't get mad at me, people, if it happens. That's what the randomizer does. Makes things interesting.
Well, our two runners are following right on each other's heels for a lot of this race.
Indeed, it's fairly close. Because we do know that they're both trying to find exactly the same items, and they both know where every item is. I think the only small advantage that BK has is he has the powder, and he already checked it. So that's a small thing he could pick up a bit of time on.
Well, he also has ether.
Oh yeah, that's true. So that's another comfortable thing, because I do believe ether locked Turtle Rock.
Yep.
Now, at least when you don't have the hook shot and have to do swap like this, you can't keylock yourself. So that's one plus. Of course, means you have to go around a lot more and the dungeon is slower, but it's a minor inconvenience, especially if one of those two items in these chests is something very useful, like a Master Sword.
To get a bow. Or a big key to get another chest. That might help.
Yeah, okay, I can accept that as a valuable item, since it will make not having to check the big chest again, since it does happen a lot in this tournament where the big key is further in the dungeon and you need still to check the big chest because there's an item location left, of course.
Yeah, they won't have to double dip because of big key. They'll just have to double dip because of no hook shot. Dude's cleared as much as he can. He just got to go back for that big chest, and then we'll see how Swamp's paying out.
So far, not very well.
There's the flute.
There we go. Now, BK is about to realize he forgot to flip the switch again, so he won't be able to go on the right side here and pick up the big heart. But he will be able to go on the left and pick up his big key. Let's see what he does.
Now, oh, that's right, they do have the lamp, so yeah, this puts all the sequence breaks back together.
And it's about time too. Like we were saying a bit earlier, the further in the seed you're going while sequence breaking, the more confusing it becomes. You want to try to keep on to your logic so you know exactly where to go. Now with the flute, this seed just opened up a bit more. I think they're probably either going to Ice Palace next or going into the Mire area to check what medallion locks it.
Well, they could actually, as long as they can get into Mire, they can clear Mire.
Indeed, that's true.
Oh wait, no, never mind. They need hookshot or boots just to access it.
Ah yes, that would help to clear that giant gap in the first room.
I know there's some people that are really good at bomb jumping, but yeah, I think that's a bit much.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure none of these guys know how to hover.
Hovering without boots. Oh, there's a Master Sword. They can finally get a bow.
There you go. Now we're getting a bit more progression out of this scene. Finally unlocking more locations.
And as we saw, it's Bombos locked, so both runners have Bombos. Quake is the fake medallion this time.
Yep, no use for that quack medallion. Now, Dude is most likely going right for that bow, as it's locking a few more locations, such as whatever is left inside of Palace of Darkness. And Eastern, maybe? Did we see all 3 items from Eastern?
Oh, I don't think we did.
Ah, that's right. Armos has one. So that could also be a play, depending on what they're missing at this point. And of course, Pedestal. We still have no idea if it has something required.
Boots.
Shh.
I didn't say anything. At least we know it can't have Fire Rod, because you need Fire Rod to finish Skullwoods.
That is true. So, really, out of the dungeons, out of what's left to get, there's really only, what, the boots and the, let's see, hookshot that could be there?
Yep, we already know the medallions needed are out in the world. And Fire Rod's out in the world somewhere.
At this point, I'm half expecting it to either be inside of Palace of Darkness in one of those chests we didn't see, or, yeah, one of those last chests, either in Tower of Hera, or the last one on Armos. Yeah.
That's right, they still have the basement to check. Wait, is this dude's first trip to Pod?
I believe so.
Oh, Bitesize is being a little sneaky here. He went into the back half of desert, grab a key. He is stealing a key and going to check the right side of desert.
Yep, looks like he is not overdoing all them sequence breaks. It will give him access to 2 more chests here, which might give him the big key so he can explore a bit more, but he will still need to find the boots to be able to complete desert, since the last key he needs to go into the later part of it is locked on the torch.
I found the big key on the right side. He found a big 20. Time to check the big chest to see if it's got his second item.
And nope, he only got that. He already has all the items inside of Desert. The first one was the flippers early on.
That's right. So that means Desert is going to end up being a triple dip for him.
Yeah, it's not something you want. Double dipping is usually happens a lot in these versions of Randomizer, but triple dipping, yeah, not that much. Now it looks like both players are going inside of Palace of Darkness. Dude going for his first time and BK going for his second time. So the trip will look a bit different on each of them.
I'm trying to remember if this is where Bitesize got his ether medallion.
Ooh, it does look like we got us. What was in that chest? I saw something. Oh, I forgot what just I said. I thought I saw something that did not happen. Looks like Dude is going straight to the boss.
He might be using Helmsaur King as a free mirror.
At least he does have the big key, so he can go up to Helmsaur.
Yeah, I can't imagine Dude skipping all the other chests when you need your at least 3 items out of go mode. I'm not sure if he knows he needs the ether medallion yet or not.
Yeah, he will be checking that right after. I'm positive about that.
There's those 17 hammer hits, that 1 silver arrow, and Helmsaur King is down for DuDudeDude.
Gets rewarded with a red boomerang. Not very useful, especially since they do have a very good range weapon with the silver arrows in the bow. But it's also one more crystal they have. So it's that much closer for this race to be over.
Now, Palace of Darkness has 5 items in it. And between both runners, the only locations we haven't seen are the 2 small chests in the dark room to the left and the big chest. So it looks like other than Ether, we haven't seen a lot of progression out of Pod.
Indeed, it looks like you said, it still has a few more chests, so I still think there's something useful in there.
Right now, what we're looking for in terms of progression right now, I think would be boots, hook shot, or fire rod.
Yep, pretty much the only very useful item at this point, since we do know that Bumper K has nothing. So Cape won't be required. And as we also said earlier, Quake will also not be required.
And Dude's going through the dark room. We've got a compass, two chests left to check. Oh, he must have been counting because he is leaving right after that piece of heart.
Indeed, his status screen did show that he was missing the map, so yeah. Good play, good play. Saved a few seconds.
Yeah, but he's not checking Eastern. I think he just realized it too.
Yeah, I think he just realized that, oh, I can go into Mire, but not far. Not far enough. Now, it looks like he's probably trying to go into Ice Palace instead. So, ooh, this will be interesting.
I'll admit, I was thinking so much about the pod into Eastern play, I almost forgot that Ice Palace is a thing.
Yeah, unfortunately, it does still exist. It's not a fun dungeon, but you know, it's still there.
Especially when you have to full clear it.
Meanwhile, BK remembered that there's still an item left in this dungeon, and since he still doesn't know what's on the pedestal, might as well go and complete it. He's already one pendant down, he'll be two after this. Let's face it, it's only a minor detour once they find the fire rod to go beat Motula.
Well, there's a hook shot.
Yeah. There's been a few sayings around that version 27 actually shifted where the items are, so the new Hype Cave is now Ice Palace. I don't really like that, but I've heard it.
See, with Ice Palace having a lot of things, I've seen that more often when it's a pendant.
Of course. Just to be a bit more trolly, even more than normal. Now, BK is already up to Armo, so we'll soon see what these knights are holding. Unfortunately, only a piece of heart.
Well, it's probably better than finding the fire rod at this point. If you find the fire rod, you're thinking Skull Woods and you're thinking pendant. I mean, you're thinking pedestal.
Well, I don't know. That would be a great routing to go check the pedestal at the same time, since Skullwood is the last pendant. But yeah, he's going into Ice Palace also, so he will still find his hookshot soon enough.
Was that Bombos a bit early for Dude? Did he? He missed one.
Ooh, that does hurt him a bit, but at least he still had enough magic to cast it again.
There's a big key, but once he gets down to Cold Stare, is he going to have enough magic? Never mind, I think he's got enough magic now.
Oh, definitely. Got lucky when with a big magic drop.
I don't think the second one was necessary.
Yeah, that's just probably the dungeon trying to rub it in. Ice Palace being rude as usual.
Route Ice Palace the vanilla way. That is being rude. And there's Fire Rod.
2 progression items inside of Ice Palace. What did I say? Confirmed Ice Palace being the new Hype Cave.
Can we make it 3 for 3? Can we find some boots? I don't think dudes checked that one chest though.
BK trying his way through the bomb jump here. Ooh, he gets it fairly early. Nice, well done.
I'm usually not a fan of the bomb jump when you're checking chests.
Yeah, it all depends on how you're routing the place around. I've seen it both ways. People going to Cold Stair first, getting that out of the way, and if they don't get the items, they just turn around and do the whole dungeon vanilla way.
Also, without Red Cane, it's still really good to do the bomb jump just to ensure you got that block early.
Yeah, skips a few rooms.
Big chest only had a map, so Cold Stair has the 3rd item.
No, at least he does have all the magic he needs. He only needs to not die to Cold Stair. Now, this is not a jinx, people. They do have red mail.
I was about to say, red mail's going to make life a little bit easier. Although, apparently Cold Stair still does 2 hearts of damage to red mail.
Yep, you still need to be somewhat careful. These guys can be a bit brutes sometimes.
Bite-sized out of magic. He's got to beat him down with the Master Sword. Only 1 left.
There we go. Dude got him.
It's red, but it's not boots.
Ice Palace nearly giving me a heart attack here by dropping something red like that.
I think we've only got 1 more red item.
Oh, I'm pretty sure we have plenty of big reds flying somewhere.
There's bound to be a couple left, you're right.
There's always big 20s lying around. You never know how many there is.
Oh, and a bacon sword.
Oh, that's true. Now, dude is finally going to get inside Meyer.
Bite-size healing back up. There should be enough magic right before Cold Stair to give him enough magic to use bombos, right?
Yeah, 2 more magic drops. Yeah, that should be enough.
Now the hook shot alone is going to open up completely opens up Mire. That completely opens up Swamp Palace, which are your 5-6 crystals, which will open up the Pyramid Fairy. So there's a few more options now.
You know, we will possibly see a divergence here in how they route this, because when BK is going to be done with this dungeon, he's probably going to say to himself, hey, I have the Fire Rod and only 1 pendant to go to check Pedestal. Why not? I mean, these guys are nearly 1 hour and 30 minutes in, and they still don't have the boots, and they know that's required. They must start be asking themselves, where can it be?
Dude probably wishing he was in go mode for this, because the first chest he checked around the bridge, there was the big key.
Yep, and at this point, it's the race to where the boot's at. The first one to find them pretty much has the biggest lead.
I want to see a Turtle Rock gamble. I think Turtle Rock is going to be a good place to go right now.
I completely agree with you.
Though I also like the tempered sword that dude just pulled out of Meyer.
Yep, temper is not required, but you know, it's one of those items that you're very happy to see. Makes everything just faster since enemies tend to die in one hit now. Dude taking a break here, waiting for the room to move around.
I wonder which is... actually, I don't think that's as long as a tile room break.
Yeah, not quite as long, but still, that's an appreciated break in when you're playing Randomizer. You don't get a lot of those.
The compass, however, not so much appreciated. Hey, check that chest. That wasn't the last chest he had to check, was it?
I still think no.
It's usually a bit odd to see that not be the last chest you check.
I like it when these guys try and go in different orders like that, because sometimes you can find some small time-saving tricks. It's a thing that happens in randomizers since the items are so shuffled around. You find small time-saving tactics everywhere, here and there.
The other thing to note is that we are an hour and 30 minutes into this run, and both runners are only sitting at 3 crystals out of 7.
Yep, this has definitely been a more straightforward seed so far, but kind of slow one without having the boots or the flute for a very long time. They needed to check a lot of places just to find one location at a time, very far out of the way to just progress. Now BK is making a very cool gamble here. I like it. Go and finish Swamp.
Well, he's already done left side, so the only spot he has left to check is just go straight through to Argus. And it's a crystal, so he's got to finish it anyway.
But here's the thing though. BK forgot to lower the orange pegs earlier. So there's one chest on the left side he couldn't access.
Oh, I forgot about that.
So that leaves, when he completes this dungeon, he will still have a single item left in it. Now we'll see if he goes back and try to get it, because that item was only a big heart. But he doesn't know that.
Silver Arrow Vitreous, always just so fun to play through.
Indeed, makes the fight just really a breeze to go through. Because Vitreous is not a fun fight otherwise.
Yeah, Vitreous Vanilla, like first playthrough, he's a bit of a challenge. Or if you're unfortunate enough to have to go through Bolus.
Eesh. You know you're having a hard time versus Vitreous when you're down using bombs. Fortunately enough, that's what's not happening today.
Oh, I've seen bomb strats on Vitreous. Speaking of him though, he only had 300 rupees, so it was a crystal, but it's not progression.
Indeed.
Though right now I think Dude is thinking 5-6 crystal.
Yep, that's another good gamble, I would say. He's looking toward that a bit more likely than BK, since he already did Meyer.
There's half magic. That's a good find.
Yeah, half magic definitely useful just to have a safe. It's more of a safety around to be able to carry a bit more magic, especially when you're going to fight Trinix. And Ganon, of course.
Now, BK with the Master Sword on Argus, those little puffballs will not die in one hit.
Unfortunate, but it's just slightly longer. At least he doesn't have to use menu strats.
I've seen menu strats with Master Sword, but honestly, it feels faster just getting the 2 swipes and having to use a menu, go from hook shot to hammer to hook shot to hammer.
Indeed. But when you're on the fighter sword though, might as well.
I
There we
don't
go.
think... Oh, and the silver arrow kill. Unfortunately, it's another big 20.
Still looking for red items, and still not the right one.
Yeah, was it someone saying something earlier about big 20s being everywhere?
No idea what you're talking about. Hit. Now, where is BK going next? It looks like he's doing the reverse of what Dude did. Or not?
I might have just remembered Hera Basement. I wouldn't be surprised to see a Hera to Turtle Rock route right now.
Yeah, that would be great.
Or Turtle Rock to Hera.
Honestly, I think probably since he can do everything in Turtle Rock, going there first and possibly finding the boots in there will save him a few minutes over going into Hera first, since the tire room does take quite a bit of time.
Yeah, even if boots are in Hera Basement, I don't think boots will get you that much of an advantage in Turtle Rock.
Yeah, there's not a lot of big a lot of places to use it there. Of course, there is a few places in the later part of the dungeon, like the room just before Laser Bridge. It's a pretty long, good place to use the boots on.
Now, dude having a nice Argus fight and taking advantage of the Temper Sword. Instead of doing a single silver, he did the double spin attack with the Tempered Sword. Slightly slower, but it's still a pretty quick kill. Bit more consistent too.
Yep, and it looks like Dude is trying to go find out what's at the pyramid behind the double-chested fairy. It's a very good gamble, I think. In the meantime, BK will be going inside Turtle Rock and try his chance there. I think Turtle Rock is the better play of the two, just because there's more items in it.
Yeah, Turtle Rock is worth 5 items and a crystal, and we know it's completable. So something you gotta do anyway. Might as well make a gamble there.
Yep, that's a great place. I mean, if they knew what was on pedestal, it might have changed what the routing is. But you know, like I said earlier, information has its price, and right now, if the boots are on pedestal, these guys will most likely be hitting themselves against a wall once this race is over.
Now, dude no longer has his bomb, and he's going into the dark room. So I'm assuming that Pyramid Fairy didn't pay out, and that he's hoping the boots are in the dark room. But we know it's just powder there.
Indeed. So he'll lose a bit more time, probably because after that, he'll possibly check what's at powder.
Oh, I just noticed. There was a red shield at the Pyramid Fairy because he noticed he's got the fire shield right now.
Good catch. It is a progressive item, just not a progression item.
Something that would have been nice probably about an hour ago when they were facing blind.
Indeed, it does help out a bit with blind, because the fire shield just prevents the fireballs from doing damage. When you're facing the right direction, that is. Dude finding out that the bat is just trolling him. Single measly rupee.
Hey, at least he didn't pay 500 rupees to get that 1 rupee.
Oh, yeah, good point. Dude making the same assumption as BK did and finding out that, you know, Turtle Rock has a lot of items in it. Might as well go check. Plus it's a crystal, so win-win. Of course, a lot of people tend to put off Turtle Rock until it's the last dungeon so you can go into Ganon's Tower right after. But when you don't have a choice, you don't have a choice. it's like what they say: the randomizer giveth, the randomizer taketh.
Now, here is the other thing for Dude, though. Other than Desert, this is his last crystal.
Yeah, you are right. Now we're running out of locations very fast, and if the boots are on pedestal, BK has definitely the advantage here, since he already did Eastern.
Mimic Cave, still no boots.
Now, so far BK is still on Master Sword, which fortunately for him, he does have half magic. Because Master Sword Trinex with no half magic is not an easy fight to go through.
Yeah, the extra damage from the hammer, it's nice. The range is not.
Now we're quickly approaching the last items here inside of Toro Rock. I'm really hoping that they do find the boots inside of here, so they don't have to meddle more into dungeons. I mean, this seed has been going on for now, and now we're in 42 minutes, so yeah. BK using the cane strats here to get the mini Helmasaur off the bridge. Good idea. Gets a Beator on his first chest.
There's the boots! And that's go mode, I believe.
That is go mode. The boots as go mode item. Oof. I feel relieved for some reason.
It couldn't be because there was a boots pedestal jinx on this seed.
Nah, like I said, nothing of importance on the pedestal. The seed just wanted to give us a scare, especially the players. Now, because we know where the boots are, it means that unfortunately BK is a bit behind since he still needs to do Meyer after this.
However, he can do go mode Meyer, and we know the big key is right on that bridge, which is usually an early location check. So Meyer might end up being pretty free for BK.
Yeah, and of course, being in the same era means that he'll be able to do Desert right after. It also means that he most likely won't be finding himself another sword soon.
That's right. Tempered Sword was on left side Meyer. Thank goodness BK had some green goo.
Indeed. Would have been disastrous without it. So like I said, Trinex on Master Sword is not a fun fight. You can lose a lot of magic really fast.
Yeah, he almost pulled the trigger on that save quit.
And Trinex down. Now, this is a hot race so far.
With Dude on that tempered sword, though, it should be a much cleaner fight.
Indeed. It's going to take a lot fewer hits to get through Trinex there.
Now we do know there is one more sword somewhere. And since they've already found all the items in Desert, Bite Size already checked Eastern, so the last sword is probably in Ganon's tower.
Yeah, at this point, it's a very fair assumption to it being there. It can also be in one of those boot locations on the overworld, such as either King's Tomb or the Bunk Cave.
Or it could be on Pedestal.
Yeah, completely.
Though for BK's sake, I hope it's in the tower. Because Master Sword Ganon, even with silvers, it's not fun.
Indeed, because when you only have the Master Sword, Ganon only takes damage when you do spin attacks. And yeah, I think that speaks for itself.
So there's that big key. What's BK's next play? Oh, he is go-moding it.
Ah, yes, not trying to find what the items are in here. I perfectly understand why. At this point, you're nearly 2 hours in, and you're still not done. You've been all around the place. You gotta feel behind, no matter how. Now, yeah, dude just realized, oh, I don't have magic.
Yeah, you might want that guaranteed magic.
It's that one boss you can't beat without magic.
So Dude's going into Trinex, Bite Size is about to go into Vitreous, and those silver arrows on Vitreous will negate the sword advantage. Dude is just taking a couple of hits to make this faster.
BK just finished Meyer, and Dude is about to finish Turtle Rock. So this is pretty neck and neck. Now, of course, BK is a lot closer to Desert. It's going to take him less time to just enter the dungeon.
Yeah, he's running to the back. Oh, wait, he can't go straight to the back. He's got to go to the torch and get his key.
That's true, since he did sequence break. Oh, he went a bit too far.
So he's going to do the flute to get to Dark World to mirror to get back in. I'm surprised he didn't just go through the front and book.
Yeah, at that point he was close enough. And there we go. He just got his key.
And Dude's getting his key.
Oh, this is so close. It's amazing.
Oh, that's right. Dude still has to go to the right to get his big key.
Still, really, really close. These guys are not even a minute apart.
Yeah, there's a sword difference right now. However,